Hello, David Zritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. You know, I'm surrounded by my friends here. Harris Thomas, dressing like Bond. Welcome.
David, thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you. I feel like you never left.
I haven't.
He never leaves. And Joe Darlington from Being James Bond.
Who literally never left, kind of.
He kind of never left. We're still wearing the same clothes as like all the other videos.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not like we filmed these all at one time. This is just movie magic.
Definitely not.
Well, listen, we are now sitting in front of my No Time to Die display for a reason. It's more than just to show fun little stuff. I wanted to have a conversation with you guys because I made some observations and I needed some people to talk to about it. It's been quite a haul, quite a journey waiting for this movie. And, you know, things have waned. You know, we've had good days and we've had bad days. And I didn't mean to go good and then bad. But
What good days?
everybody saw Joe's confessional when things were delayed, so that's not new.
I'm trying to figure out what good days you're talking about.
Well, maybe we'll get to them. But the nice thing is that, you know, I think we've all taken stock in how much the Bond community helps to kind of satiate our Bond sweet tooth from time to time and kind of what Bond means to us. But I would dare say that I think this time we've been taxed.
Yeah.
We've been tested. I mean, it's been hard and maybe even harder to be a Bond fan and maybe even harder to get excited about a movie that's been delayed constantly. So let's start with that. First of all, Harris, I'm going to start with you. How are you feeling about Bond in general, about your own passion with it today?
It certainly has been put through the ringer to, be very blunt with it. I think I'm going to speak for myself, obviously, and a lot of other people out there watching this that, we love this character. It doesn't matter if it's James Bond, Batman, or whatever. But we also have lives. And part of our life is enjoying these characters and getting to do things in our everyday life and then eventually seeing them and following them and having all these passions with the character. But when all of that stops, life doesn't stop.
Right.
You've got to keep moving.
Right.
And, you grow, you mature, you get other interests and everything. I still love James Bond. It's my favorite thing in the world. I love fries, as everyone knows. But I can tell you, sometimes...
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Sometimes I don't want fries,
When?
We've yet to get there. It's tough, right?
Yeah.
It's just tough to do. It's just tough to keep the fire burning so strongly as we always do. But I love James Bond. I'm excited for the movie. I'm excited for later this year. I'm excited for the ramp up.
Yeah.
Because I think we all are going to need that.
Is it safe to say for you especially, I mean, you're a location guy, you're a trip guy, you like to be on the move, you like to be out in the world, that between COVID and also things and parties and events being delayed, it's really quelled a lot of what you love to do to support your passion.
Yeah, I mean, I love the movies, but I mean, I can't just watch the movies all day, every day. I love travel. I need to be out doing stuff. And, part of what I do in James Bond and what I think is so special about James Bond versus any other movie franchise is that you can go out and do the stuff. Yeah. It's not so much, just sitting in the back reading a comic book or, watching, Han Solo. But it's, we've all been put to the test here for sure. And I think we're all going to fight back when it's time to do this. But, right now it's just...
Stuff.
Yeah, it's tough, and you get busy.
You do. Life finds a way, to use a Jeff Goldblumish remark. Joe, how are you feeling?
Okay.
Wow, what a testimony.
I kind of get it. I get it that it's not easy with put it this way. It's hard to. I mean, it's over a year ago now since the film got postponed.
And yesterday we were supposed to have a movie.
Yeah,
yesterday.
Right, quite literally.
Yes.
There was a video that I predicted that it was going to get delayed, and yesterday proved that.
That is true.
Thank you. Point for dressing like Bond.
Yep. So
We're keeping score.
I mean, So it's over a year ago that the big delay happened, and again, this is after how long did we wait for the film and everything, and finally it was here, and it had already been postponed, and then we had the big one, and it was. I remember kind of like that was a blow, that was a shock, right? And we all rallied. We all rallied. We all said, okay, well, we're not going to let we're not going to take it lying down. We're going to do gatherings and we kind of came up with a whole industry of doing the Zoom meetings and live streams, etc. And we cranked out some content, and it was a whole year of that. It was a whole year, and then the year ended, and we turned the corner into 2021. And I feel like as we sort of turned the corner, as it sort of felt like we were getting closer, you sort of look, and it's like, whew, we still have a whole nother year. Like we still have the whole year to go. And as optimistic as I am that I think this is it, I think we're finally going to get it. Even then, it's like, but you can't trick yourself into believing that it's definitely going to happen. You know what I mean? Like it's still like, I think it's going to happen. I still can't get that confident in it. But even if it is, it's still a whole year off.
Yeah.
So I won't lie. I mean, it is hard to be like, what do I do between now and then? That's still a big jump. That's a long haul between here and there.
I think that's part of I think that's part of the way that I'm feeling of like, well, I have a whole nother year now to look forward to this movie, but I have tomorrow, I have today. Like, it's, and we've rallied, right? I mean, more than anybody, you rallying, everyone's rallying, but at some point, if you just keep rallying to then get let down and then let down, you got to get very super cautious until you start. And I think we all will rally again when we know that we're at the that we're coming around the bend.
So I think a part of it too is a mindset. So I'm going to ask you in a second questions specific to you both being content creators, but I think what I've gotten into the mindset pretty early on is I make myself a long list, and you guys have seen the list. I make myself a long list because I'm almost not counting on a movie. And I've said this before. I can't live for the next movie because what happens is then I say it's a bridge. What I'm doing as a content creator is a bridge to a movie or an image or a trailer. And as long as I do that, I'm going to feel like I'm just missing out. Like something's always ahead of me. As opposed to saying, there may never be another movie. Now there will be. But if there isn't another movie, would I be able to keep up the content? And I have to answer myself and say, it's only as limited as my creativity. So I'm going to pose a question to both of you. As a content creator, I've spoken to a lot of people and they use the term burned out. They say, I've been creating content, I've done things, my creativity has a cap, or you know what? Life finds a way. I've got to focus on a career or event in my life. I'm moving. All these things come up and oh my gosh, that's right. People are expecting 1.2 posts a day on Instagram. Has the words burnt out come into your vocabulary?
Yes, I'd be lying if I said no. But again, it's not. But you both bring up a great point. It also has a lot to do with. I mean, I've been telling people since I started. I said, "Oh, I'm moving and I got to get set up and I'm gonna whatever." People still ask me, "Are you moved in? Are you all settled?" And I'm like, "Yes, thank you." So it's been very time consuming.
Right.
But yeah, all of a sudden at the end of the day, like when you finally sort of get situated, I feel like I've sat down at my desk and just felt like, okay, and I have nothing in front of me. I have nothing really kind of lined up and ready to work on. What do I do? And then you compound with the idea like, and I still got a whole year to. I mean, again, I'm kind. I feel like for the last few years, it's kind of been like, any day now we're gonna have a movie to talk about, and that's gonna fill up a lot of our time. A lot of our conversations are gonna be about this new movie, and there's still nothing, and so yeah, burned out is kind of it's not a perfect way to describe the feeling, but yeah, it is. There is a sense like, boy, it sure is tough to keep kind of pulling out content. When again you're lacking. I mean, I'm sure there are people like I keep comparing myself to other fandoms, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, etc. They're usually talking about the next thing. Like I'm sure they talk about all of the stuff that we've gotten in the past, but they're still talking about the next thing. Then if like what if all of a sudden we become like Man from U.N.C.L.E. fans? Where all we're doing is kind of looking back on something that happened prior,
right.
or
some
trying
other.
to get Henry Cavill in the mix, Joe.
Well, there you go.
Someone's got to do it.
Why not?
or some other defunct property that
Right.
we all look back on fondly with nostalgia. But how much can you keep talking about
Yeah.
the stuff that's happened prior? You kind of need new stuff to sort of happen.
So it's not really burnt out. Burnt out is like you have nothing. There's no gas in the tank. It almost sounds like it's become more challenging, if anything.
Yes, it's right. It is challenging. I mean, I'm imagining Tarzan swinging, and you don't let go of the last vine until you get a grip on the next one. And I kind of feel like we don't have a grip on the next one. There's no sense of, okay, if I just get to here, I'll have the next thing. I don't know. We're kind of grasping at air at this point, so it's like that's tough. And again, we can talk. I mean, I've been doing trivia and all kinds of things. We will celebrate what has been till the end of time, I suppose.
Right.
But right, it's where do we take it's actually not unlike probably the feeling of the last year when every time we meet with friends, it's hard not to talk about COVID. Like all we talk about is, what this whole COVID thing is kind of crazy, isn't it? Yeah, boy, it's tough being and it's like I'm sick of that same conversation.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
People are sick of, honestly, I've heard people in my work life, they're doctors and my clients are sick of being on Zoom. Like Zoom is
Right,
the
yeah.
coolest, newest technology, and look at
Yeah.
all the stuff I can do.
Hope I'm never on it again.
Thank you. And even these, we're tonight, you guys are here because we're doing a live stream. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a time when people are like, oh God, a live stream, because things are going to open up.
Yeah.
I really feel very good about that. It's going to be like the 1920s all over again, where people are going to get dressed up. They're going to go to big events. We're going to get together. But until then, to your point, it almost seems like a merry-go-round. Like it's like this, the same kind of craziness.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you the same question. I mean, burnt out. Feeling it?
Yeah. I mean, those are I feel like the people that have told you that started with me. I feel like that conversation we had on the phone is exactly all the words that you just used.
Wow. I don't
Yeah.
recall.
I mean, in the beginning, I completely burnt out. I got no shame in admitting that. It's tough, but it's not that there's no gas in the tank. I think it's just
Right.
the energy level is now being put to other things, and I think partly for me, in my experience through all of this, you immediately just said, right, going out, travel, going to stuff, that kind of was my thing, and when that's taken away from you, you've got to, and I selfishly, that's what my Instagram page is. And I'm not a fake person. So when I don't go do that,
That's a great point.
I'm not, I don't
Yeah, you're
have
not going to
any-
create
I don't
something
have
there.
anything,
And just in the last 24 hours, I'll say that, I don't know when we're premiering this, but in the last 24 hours, you've been so prolific in your posts and storytelling because you had real moments with real people in real settings about a bondish environment.
yeah, I mean,
That's what feeds you.
yeah, and in the beginning, I definitely tried to take some photos, right, of getting dressed up in an outfit in my apartment, and that's only cool after the second one.
Yeah.
Then it gets really old really quickly, and for those of you who do that, that's fine. It's just not my thing. But I think you start to quickly also, when everything's stripped away and taken away, you start to really figure out what it is that you like and what gets you up in the morning.
Yeah.
And I love clothes, I love style, I love all of that. I love all the locations, I love the travel, and we'll still do that. But I'm just,
You're picking your moments.
I'm not gonna just post a picture just to post a picture.
Yeah. You'll probably take a couple while you're here, right?
Probably.
You could
Maybe.
you could have like the next 30 days all covered here.
Dressing like the Bond experience.
I didn't say that.
I don't have as long of a list as you
Well,
do.
I'll tell you what. Here's the good news. This is not a video about two old men and a young guy's kvetching
I feel
about
old.
being burnt out and no fuel in the tank and all this other wonderful stuff. But we also know that a lot of people out there, whether you're in the Bond community or you're new to the Bond community, are feeling that way. So this is going to now then turn into something a little bit motivational. And I figured we'd give almost a public service announcement, because the reality is although we create content in a pretty prolific way, we really embrace, we fuel, we digest content as well. So I've asked these gentlemen, and I came to the table as well, to think about who are those content creators out there that are keeping the spark alive? Who are the ones that are worthwhile? Who are the ones that we tend to gravitate to? And I'll tell you what, I'd love to start with a more difficult one and maybe go to the easier one. So let's start with just Facebook. All right? Those people on Facebook that just create smile and joy. I'll say it like that. So I'll start. So you guys have time to think if you need to. But I really like on Facebook James Bond television, Wilfred.
Wilfred, yeah.
That was instantly the first one that came to my mind. As
Right?
You said Facebook, yes.
A wonderful character, so unassuming because he is what he is, unapologetic. He puts it all out there. You know, he's got a very Fleming-like approach to Bond, but he also, what I love about him, he goes on and he scours the web and he curates these impossible to find television programs about Bond and movie programs about Bond. And every single day, he's got something new. And he does about, I kid you not, like 5 or 6 posts a day. I don't know how he does it so well.
Yeah.
But what, yeah, do you follow or?
I'm not on Facebook. I don't really use it.
Too young. It's just this old prodigy. I'm telling you, it's.
No, I remember when Facebook was a thing. It's not a thing.
Facebook's not a
anymore.
thing.
It's not a thing.
That's why I'm starting with Facebook.
Yeah.
Because there's like 6 people watching that are on Facebook, and this is for you 6
no
people.
offense.
No offense taken. What do you think?
I honestly, I have nothing else to add to that because as soon as you said Facebook, I said James Bond television. He is the one who was
Yes.
killing it on Facebook, and that to me is
Yeah.
spot on.
I also like you mentioned him the other day, and that is Bill Koenig, the Spy Command. And I think primarily, although he has a website and he's got a lot of different fingers in the pie, so to speak, he's very, very current from
Yeah.
a news standpoint.
Yes.
And you said it best. He's like a news reporter.
He really is.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. If you want up to the minute like news reports of things that are happening, he's on it.
Yeah.
And you'll have something in your inbox within the hour, and he will. And he's so good at putting things in context.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This is why this is important. You know, I mean, he does some of his stuff. I think is so great. Like he'll simply do like 20 questions with regard to this event.
Yes.
You know, why do I care about this? Well, what does it mean? Because like, and he does it so well that it, and that to me is just so important that you sort of get the proper context of, you know, how important this is, why this is what it is, etc.
He's very academic, right? I mean,
He is. He knows his dates,
Yeah.
his files, and he's bigger than Bond. That sounds like a promo. Bigger than Bond, Bill Koenig. But he is. He understands nostalgia. He understands the 60s and the 70s spy movies. The other one that I had marked for Facebook, and the list is relatively short, is Cue the Music.
Yeah.
I think Cue the Music uses Facebook in a really great way to get their message out, to have concerts.
Yes.
Obviously, you're familiar with Cue the Music, right?
I've heard, yeah.
Smack. Young un. But I love the way that Warren and his whole team have kind of captured those moments on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I know you're a huge fan.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm a Cue the Music groupie.
Yes, there are groupies.
See, I follow him on Instagram.
Yes, and then we're going to talk about crossovers. You're
Yeah.
right, but mostly I think
And
it's
they're great. I
he's
mean,
mostly on Facebook.
all the stuff that Warren's done, you know, with
Unbelievable.
the lockdown sessions, and you know, I
Yeah.
bought, you know, all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
those things are awesome. You guys do. Each of you did a
We did a concert thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Those things were awesome. They're so well put together, and
Yeah.
all of that whole band, the singers. I mean, they're spot on. They're
And
perfect.
believe me, when I say this, he does not do it for the love of money. There is
Right,
no
right,
money
right.
in that. Quite the opposite. He does it to lift people up.
We should have them here.
Well, I've talked to Warren about coming to the United States. He's talked to other people, you know, better than I am about coming here.
We'll
and
start that GoFundMe.
we could start that as a GoFundMe. Why don't you do that?
I will.
All right.
I'll send it to my assistant.
I do, and by the way, Harris brings up a really good point. A lot of the content creators were talking about crossover channels. I mean, what I'm doing is focusing a little bit on what they're mostly about. For example, I'd like to now go to podcasts. So this isn't a YouTube vlog. This is people that are primarily podcasts. You got to download them. You listen to them. I'll start off. 00 Files.
Yeah.
Number one.
Don and gang.
Yeah.
00 Files. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love Man Talk. I'm guilty.
Yep.
It's the best.
What do you like about you like Double O Files?
Well, I think they nailed it last year with the trivia.
oh yes.
I mean that was
was-
awesome, and you know it was great because and I know we'll talk about this more, but we just talked about Benjamin Lynn's survey that he did, which was spectacular.
Yes.
And one of the criticisms that was posed is that people don't stick to a set schedule. We just sort of post things when we post them, and that is absolutely true. So to have the Double O Files every morning, there's a new podcast, and I mean I listen to it so regularly.
Oh yeah.
I mean it was just so well
And their
done, and they
podcasts
really
sometimes
nailed
are
it.
2 to 3 hours long.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're robust as anything. My gosh.
Yeah.
Best icon logo for their podcast. Too.
Yeah.
I love it. It's
Oh,
very Fleming.
The new one? Yeah, it's
it's
great.
It's perfect. Don, guys, incredible.
What do you guys think? Podcasts. I'll let you guys jump in here.
I really like Donnie's Quantum of History.
I was gonna say that one,
Anyone who knows Donnie, it's a good listen. It certainly will perk you up and make you laugh. And you know he doesn't take anything too seriously, and sometimes that's a nice, refreshing thing to hear.
Unapologetic.
Unapologetic,
Yeah.
which I like. We need more unapologetic in this world today.
I love also, and I said this to Donnie, I think on his celebration, his 1 year celebration. I said, Donnie is one of those individuals in the community that you can disagree with him and he can disagree with you. And lo and behold, you don't have to be enemies. I don't understand this whole idea of like, you don't agree with what I agree with and your film's not my favorite film. Your politics are different.
I'm following
They're-
you.
Right.
We're
But that's, I don't get it. And Donnie thankfully doesn't subscribe to that.
Yeah, no, he absolutely doesn't. And that's a great point too. And again, I'm probably going to refer to that survey several times today. But
We're going to get into that.
there was a couple of comments about just people just kind of like mocking people for liking certain things or not liking certain things. To which I'm like, I don't know where you guys are hanging out that you're feeling that, because I don't see that at all. Because I sort of feel like, right, we all of us like different things. I mean, and literally there are no two Bond fans who are the same.
Right.
If we all sat and made our list like favorite to least favorite, all 24, no two lists are the same. So I mean, we're all gonna have like you and I can have like our top 4 exactly the same, and then all of a sudden somebody will say, and then Diamonds Are Forever is my favorite, and I'll be like, what? And we'll go back and forth or whatever. But I mean, at the end, it's all just our favorites. I mean, we're all like the same thing. But no, Donnie, what I love about his, I mean, he is quite literally probably one of the best examples of something that is educational and entertaining. I mean, his stuff is brain candy. I mean, he is talking about things from history that honestly will feed your brain, and he does it in a fun way, and he talks about boobs. So what else could you possibly want? What could
Didn't see that coming. All right, this is a family show. Favorite podcasts? Name one. Besides the ones we named, obviously.
Being James Bond, have you ever listened to it?
I do think that's worth a mention. I know
Yeah,
we're
it is.
kind of trying
It
to stay
is.
away from us, but
Well-
I am, when he does a podcast, I'm thoroughly entertained. I will say,
Production value has always been there.
well, that's
Always been there,
That's
and
the whole
it's-
thing. But hold on a second. So I actually like his videos better than his podcasts. So, and I know they cross over because usually his videos become podcasts and vice versa. But he's such a visual artist. You're not here. He's such a visual artist that, to me, visually and artistically, what he brings to the table has elevated his podcasts. And by the way, my wife's so funny because if I'm watching a live stream of Joe, and she's like in the bathroom or 2 rooms away, she'll say, "Is that Joe Darlington? You have such an identifiable voice.
Yeah.
It is so well regarded, but also well known." And we never want you to get burnt out.
Please don't.
I don't want to. I listen. And again, we talk about being burnt out. We all kind of get into these little what do you call them? When you get writer's
Ruts.
block, etc.
Little ruts. Little ruts.
Yeah, but it'll. But there's nothing for me more fun than doing some of those videos.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the things. I mean, honestly, I almost feel like in some way when we talk about the burnout, I mean, I feel like last year, I would love to just put out a greatest hits of all the things I did last year, because I felt like I had so many videos last year that were home runs that like really took a lot of work and they were a lot of fun, and even I sort of rewatched them because I'm laughing because they're so silly. But honestly, I kind of got, Okay, now that's
Yeah.
that's
Meanwhile,
take a breath.
your in memoriam ones get the largest views. Who knew?
You're not kidding. You're
Who
not
knew?
kidding.
Okay, so I need to mention another stalwart. We just said being James Bond,
Yeah.
been around since the dawn of time. James Bond Radio. You know, the boys at James Bond Radio they're just this comfortable whoopee, this warm blanket you put over you. They're not posting as much as they used to, but we want them back. We always want them back. And when they come back, we forgive them for their trespass. What do you think?
Yeah, and I actually just talked to Tom pretty like in the last week, and,
Oh.
and I was sort of asking like, how are you doing over there? And I hope I'm not spoiling any surprises, but he says, we're coming back. We're coming back very soon, so stay tuned. So I'm very happy about that.
It's awesome. No,
Yeah.
I mean they are. I mean, the interviews and all the stuff that they've done over the years has just been the best, like driving material, and again, great production value as well. That intro that they have is just so, for me, I'm gonna use the word iconic.
It is iconic.
It's
You're right,
iconic,
yeah. When you hear it,
Keeping
you're
the
like,
British in the, like that's just when I hear that, it's like, welcome to James Bond Radio.
Well,
Like,
even
it's
their
just,
sign off. I think maybe I've stolen it. Bye. That. I mean, everything about them is iconic. And it used to be it was like Tom and Chris, but now you've got Jack Lugo, you've got JW, you've got Dan, you've got all these people who have just become a force to be reckoned with. So I'm very happy to hear they're coming back.
Yeah,
Huge
same
fans.
here, and that's a classic example too of like by fans for fans, because I mean these guys are true hardcore fans. So it's I mean when you listen to a podcast and you kind of go like, I don't know if they know what they're talking about right there. Like these guys know everything that they're talking about. I mean it's so great. Like they know it so well that it just makes it so much fun to listen to.
I will say that there's a couple of relative newcomers, and I say relative meaning they haven't been around for 38 years like Joe, before the internet was up. A couple things I'll mention. I do like another James Bond podcast, Corey and Danielle. I think they do a great job because, by their own admission, Danielle is not really a Bond fan. Maybe is even seeing these movies for the first time with her husband. And Corey, I wouldn't say is a Trivial Pursuit fan. So it's almost like taking dare I say real people and having them talk about the movies, and they're actually very funny and very pithy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think you've interviewed them before and talked to them.
Vice versa. Yeah. We talked about Octopussy together, and it was a really it was a very great, very thorough discussion too. And you're absolutely right. The term litmus test popped into my head as you were saying that, because you're absolutely right. It's like throwing some of these movies at somebody who's relatively new to them and kind of getting fresh opinions and fresh thoughts, stuff that we can't even remember that we had when we first saw these films, because we've seen them so much. So it is kind of a nice fresh perspective on.
Yeah, I like it a lot. And then another newcomer, Blunt Instruments, which is a group of gents that we know who have come. I'll tell you what I like about them. I like because, no offense, Joe, you and I are kind of like the 50 plus crew, and like in our days, Thunderball had balls, just whatever. They are a group of guys, not afraid to kind of like have it all hang out there, but they all bring something very different. You've got an Australian, you've got obviously a North American, and then you've got a guy from Vegas that loves watches, Lorenzo. And it's kind of like this Marvel Universe team of like crazies and Motley Crue that bring an interesting perspective. You know the guys.
Yeah, I mean, I've met Lorenzo plenty of times now, and he's a great addition to the podcast. And again, guys, keep it up. Good stuff.
Yeah. Want to see more from them. That's the other thing, too. There are those that I've actually really enjoyed License to Critique. I want to see more, though. There seems to be like there'll be a bunch, and then people just stop. And you have a really good perspective on this that I should be much more forgiving about, that life finds a way. So it's not always that people become burnt out. It's like, I got to move, I've got a career change, etc. There's also another one that I've just started listening to, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, Dress to Kill. Have you heard Dress to Kill yet? You would love it. So Dress to Kill is a great podcast. Two wonderful women that celebrate Bond, but also celebrate clothing. One of them has her own lingerie company, and they're amazing. They're actually very popular individually on Instagram, and they've taken their love of Bond and they've connected with people like Jocelyn and people that we really appreciate, and they've built their own podcast, and I didn't know what to expect from it. And I went there, and they're talking about they talked to Tom Sears. They had Tom on,
Okay.
and they asked Tom, like, "What's your favorite Bond girl? You know, what's your favorite Bond girl's outfit?" Like, they're not afraid to stay away from
I
those
need to
types
get
of
on
things.
that. I need to talk to somebody.
They're cool, and they
Sounds
just
fun.
celebrate. And you know, one of them knows Bond a little bit more than the other, so they kind of like pick each other up a little
that's
bit.
awesome.
It's super cool.
That sounds refreshing.
Yeah.
New, different. Not should Lazenby have gotten another Bond film. You know, I mean, and that's what I personally am looking for.
It's a good point, because one of the things that I'm sure we've all been burnt out on is, these questions again. You know,
We get it. Timothy Dalton should have gotten a third film. We don't need another video or a podcast about it.
I agree. I do.
Just
agree on
saying.
that.
I'm just saying.
All right, so
Rank your Daniel Craig films. Like, I don't want to hear that anymore.
you want to rank them?
No, I don't, because we haven't seen them.
Good point.
Thank
We
you.
just talked about that,
Thank
as a
you.
matter of fact. All right, so we're gonna move off podcasts for accept, unless there's another one that really stands
Maybe
out.
I should do a podcast.
Dude, I've always said
Who
you.
doesn't want to listen to my southern drawl?
I mean, can we just both raise our hands now?
I'm raising my
I will say, before you close out podcast, I will say
Yeah,
that,
please.
that I think it's great that there's been such a surge of them.
Yeah.
We in the last year, again, as much as I'm sort of belly aching about how drudgerous the year has been, that has to be probably the payoff, is that there has been a surge of creativity, and a lot of people did start podcasts this year, and I think that's terrific.
It is great. And actually, the next list are actually people that have both a YouTube channel, and interestingly enough, they also turn that into a podcast. In some cases, they'll do a short YouTube and a long podcast. And
I think I know who we're talking about here.
from Tailors with Love.
Yeah,
Pete
yeah,
Brooker has done an amazing job,
Yeah.
very often with Matt Spazer, but very often without. I don't know how Pete's done this, but he's gotten costume designers from
Everybody.
huge movies,
Everybody.
and they're all saying yes to him. What
Everybody.
the
Yep.
hell? Do you guys listen to him?
Yeah, I mean, his stuff, when we all have, there's always time for the 2.5 hours. But more
Yes.
often than not, a 30-minute
don't.
episode,
Yes.
that's a long episode for Pete.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, a nice quick in and out, it's great.
And
you
he's
know?
so funny.
Yes.
Like, you and I have talked about this. How
Yeah.
funny is he?
Pete is, Pete has had me rolling, and I mean rolling. He is I love his sense of humor. It's dry. I
Yes.
want to say it's dry, yet it's got
Self-deprecating.
kind of,
It's so intelligent, too.
Yes,
It's so
yeah.
intelligent.
Yeah, he really does, and he has sent me rolling. I'm not even kidding.
But I don't so, all right, Pete's going to love this.
I love you, Pete.
Is he doing the humor? Does he calculate the humor, or is he just naturally funny and
I
taking
think,
the Mickey out
I
of
think
it?
he is naturally just off
think
the
so,
cuff.
too.
He's what we all should want to strive
Well,
to be.
I don't know, because they say, like, some of the best comics, they make it look like they just kind of rolled off their tongue. But I mean, yeah, one of the things I feel is that when you meet very smart people, when you meet very funny people, they're usually very smart.
Right.
Like it takes a lot of intelligence to be
Timing,
funny.
all
Yes.
of that, the wit.
So and Pete's got it
All of
all,
that.
frankly. I mean, again, like you said, when you listen to his podcast
Oh,
for a length of time, he has the personality to be able to make that work, where you
Yes.
can just listen to him talk for a
we
long
were
time,
doing
and his
one of
videos are
the,
hysterical.
we were doing one of the Zoom events, operations, whatever, and at one point, one of the rooms we were doing, he sends me a WhatsApp message that I was about to be on the ground laughing, and I'm in like a bow tie, and I'm like, okay, I gotta like sit and like focus, and I gotta remember what we're doing here, and I'm being like the tech guy trying to make it all
Yeah.
work, and I'm like looking down at my phone, and Pete is just hitting zinger after zinger, and I was like, I'm done. I gotta. That was
He is just he's so,
So
good.
refreshing.
But we would implore you to follow him, even if you're not into the style aspect, just because
so many good movies too that he's been doing lately.
it's movies outside of
Seriously.
Bond.
It's amazing.
Historical.
Yeah.
It really is very cool. So here's one we're going to dwell on for a moment, because I'm a fan of his before he did this, but the Bond Bulletin.
Yeah.
Benjamin Lin,
Yes.
who travels or used to travel, but his production value, if you look at
Yeah.
the Bond Bulletin on YouTube, is outstanding.
Bar
No
none.
offense, it actually rivals yours in some
I'll
ways.
take it. No,
In format and
Yeah.
template.
Yes.
And he, of course, has done the now famous big James Bond survey that came out.
Yes.
You're a huge fan.
I am a huge fan, and I really do hope that he does. I'm pretty sure, based as I said in my video, based on the success of this one, I'm sure he will probably take that, run with it, use it, and do different things, do different surveys for different things, etc. I hope he does the big smorgasbord survey that we got on at least an annual basis, because as I said, like this was sort of like a report card for us, what people like, what they don't like, where people's heads are with regards to different things. And it was great too, because again, it was the way he sort of split everything up was, what do you think about Eon, the 007.com website, the officials stuff? How do you like it? Do you like this? Do you like that? Etc. Then he kind of got into the fun stuff. Well, who's your favorite Bond? Who's your favorite composer? What's your favorite decade? And then he kind of put it out there to the Bond community, to the people who produce content. What do you like? What do you not like? What do you want to see more of and less of? And again, like I said, it was like getting a report card.
Yeah.
So it was like, at the end of dinner, would you fill out the card? Let us know how he did. So I thought it was pretty invaluable, frankly.
And he's done interviews, he's done quizzes. I mean, what I like about him is Benjamin is kind of like the variety show. He's put it together, but you can also tell, and I love people like this, he's got a lot of heart for the Bond community as a whole. Mm-hmm. He's not just thinking of himself, he's connecting with other people. And for that reason, I think he should be followed.
Last year, he did watch-alongs for all the Brosnans, and I thought they were great. And like you said, even just his graphics alone was stellar. I mean, he really did pull out all the stops. He did. I mean, he does it right. But I just found all the insights so invaluable.
Yes. There are some times that he'll do some of his videos in a different language, and then I'm out. Just because I can hardly speak English, as many of you know. All right. Another gentleman who we all know that I think deserves a follow is on the tracks of 007.
Absolutely.
Who's been doing the now famous 7-minute getaways during lockdown. Now you must be adoring those.
Those are so much fun. Like you can't go anywhere, but Martine takes you them.
Yeah.
And the Google Maps and again production value for him too.
Yeah.
Those videos are fantastic.
And he did a behind the scenes. He does that, I think, in one of his kids' bedrooms.
Yeah, I've ever seen
with a green screen.
Yeah, it's crazy. And see, I feel like he is a perfect example, and I relate to him so much on this. Of you think about it, on the tracks of 007, we're traveling, doing events. Goodbye, okay?
Yeah.
And he's had to go. Well,
He had to reinvent himself.
what do I do now?
Yeah.
And that's a great good motivation, good story.
Absolutely.
And he's now got something that he can do with the other stuff as well.
Yeah.
So,
I
it's awesome.
love that he's reawoken this, and I know he did his first 25, and he's probably going to do another 25. And the nice thing is, he's constantly still talking about that time that we're all going to be able to get together.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't dismiss that, which is so great.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, his videos, honestly, he's a great example. He doesn't do just enough. He really does go all the way. Like all of his videos are so complete.
Yes.
Every picture he shows, the way he superimposes the shot from the film right over the picture of how it is now.
It's crazy.
He does. It's not just enough. He goes all the way and he says, "Look, this is where we are," and you wouldn't recognize some of these places if it wasn't for the fact that he was doing that. So he really goes the extra mile. He interviews people who have been there, who have found locations that they couldn't find, and then, like you said, just the funny stuff that he does within it is always funny. The one he did for Christmas, where he was talking to Blofeld, I thought that was hysterical.
He is a genius when it comes to the funny stuff.
Yeah,
unbelievable. All right, Dutch Bond fan. Thoughts?
He didn't get a mention in the survey, and I know. Well, but I said to myself, I said, I'm putting myself in Benjamin Lynn's shoes. It's so hard to do these things because you're always going to forget one. Yes. Like you say to yourself, I know, as thorough as I'm being, there's always going to be one I'm going to forget, and that's the one that people are going to remind me of later. I think Dutch is great. I think he, again, very fun. He's a guy I talk to pretty regularly. Just to catch up once in a while. Very smart, and I kind of like what he's doing now with he's got his girlfriend doing the watch-alongs.
Yes.
She's watching them now for the first time and getting her reaction, so that's kind of fun. But he's always been a guy who's just very thorough and like going back to when he did his original series, which got him started. Just great stuff all the time.
Is he the one that I don't know too much of
No,
this
no,
stuff?
that's-
Is he the one that did the video that was going around about like watching a Bond film when your girl's trying to like
Oh yeah, hop on you and
Yes.
stuff like that. Yes, yes.
oh
How do you
Yeah.
know it when you're a hardcore
Oh,
Bond fan?
what-
Yeah.
Yes, that was a great video.
That
by the
It was
way.
very funny. Yes.
Oscar worthy.
Yeah.
I mean,
He he is
the acting in
so
it was
good.
great. The acting in it was great.
I don't think it was much acting. He is so good. He's first of all, he's a super nice guy, and he's really well regarded. I think because he really does again care about other content creators. I think he's like number 3 in YouTube. I mean, he's up there. He's like 31,000.
Yeah. Oh, he's got a lot.
Oh my gosh, he's got a
Good for
lot of
him.
followers. Yeah. But he also is this type of guy that reinvents himself.
Yeah.
So he was used to doing kind of like a commentary with just his voice in the back, and then he's like, I need to change it up a little bit
Yeah, yeah.
and make it fresh. So I think he's done a great job with that.
Sure.
I mean, check out more of his stuff.
Yeah. YouTube, James Bond Canada.
Yeah.
Interesting discussion here because we've got two kind of heads of James Bond Canada. We've got Murray, who by his own admission, I don't think he would mind this, doesn't understand technology. We actually told him to wipe away his camera because it was dirty. And then you've got Jeff Wybo, who, oh my gosh, he's like Steven Spielberg of the Bond community with
Yeah.
his videos.
Yeah. Yeah, right, and they are two. I want to say they're like the odd couple of the Bond, but I think that might be dismissive, and it might. I don't know if that sounds right, but they are like they're so
You've said it,
different.
so.
They're so different, but the two of them together make such a perfect pair when it
do,
comes to
yeah.
just like representing Canada in the world of. I mean, they're so and other guys again. You couldn't out trivia these guys. I mean, they know so much stuff about James Bond. And
Murray
they're
is
just
a
two great
walking
guys.
encyclopedia.
Yeah.
and
He
it's so
honestly
cool.
is. And Murray, I do like when he does videos because he's got such a personality. I mean, if you could actually, and I think he would admit to this, if you could see the sound levels of the person interviewing him and Murray, his would look like the Andes Mountains, and the other person would be flatline because he has so much to say. And Jeff is James Bond. I mean, Jeff, he's way too good looking, and maybe he probably doesn't know that, but he's a clothing horse like us.
Right,
I mean, he
right.
loves
Jeff
the
is
style of
man,
James
yeah,
Bond.
and again, I go back. What a good motivation to be looking at Jeff. For me, close to the same age, I look up to
good
him.
point.
I mean,
Family,
kids out
house.
there killing it.
Yeah.
All those
Yeah.
good things.
You two are you're kind of living the James Bond life,
I'm
the Fleming
I'm
bachelor life.
I'm like 10 years behind Jeff, so I'm just
Yeah.
looking at Jeff going, okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. All right, we just ride
Does
away.
Jeff feel like your age? No. He's much older
He's
than you,
out.
isn't
Jeff, I'm sorry. We were texting today. I
thought he was like 34,
32,
35?
33.
Is he 32?
Yeah.
He's an old
34.
soul.
He might be 35. I don't know. Jeff, I don't know. You don't look that old.
Oh, he looks super young, but it's filters.
Yeah.
What?
What?
It's terrible. All right. There's one that I picked up just in 2020. And I don't even know if it existed before 2020, but it's become such a guilty pleasure. And the guy even just wrote another book, which is going to be right up our alley,
Being James Bond?
called Ever Heard of Evil Knievel? John Aughty and Behind the Stunts of James Bond. Have you watched this one? Have you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so this is what John does. John puts up these videos on YouTube. You would all love it. And he goes over the different films and he takes an action shot or a stunt shot and he literally breaks it apart. And he tells you the stunt guy, what he was doing, the fake outs that they did, any kind of special effects used. And what he's doing is he's showing people an appreciation of the stunt people because Bond is about doing it for real in the best of terms, even today. And so what he's doing is he's celebrating that through a video. He's
that
done
out
a
too.
great job.
I'm learning today.
They're like 8 to 10 minute stops.
I'm liking it already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
John Aughty,
But that's what
alright.
this is about. This
Yeah,
is about
awesome.
introducing
Yeah, this is awesome.
people. We got to talk about our friend Ray, the Bond Armory.
Absolutely.
I mean, what do you think about his videos?
I'm dying to get down and see his new studio.
It is, yeah.
To do some
Have you been?
messaging.
I have not been able to see it fully, but I've been out in it before. And it's, I'm definitely,
How big is it?
well, maybe you guys can't see this, but to like there,
Uh-huh.
to your wall,
Okay. Yeah.
over to the door to the gym.
Okay.
So if you're watching at home, that means
So it's
nothing.
like 15
You went like this.
15 by 12 or something like
Sure.
that. Okay.
Sure.
I'm just doing an estimate.
Whatever you want. I should have just said that. 15 by 12.
I love that he's doing a studio, but I tell you, I've been really impressed. I mean, Ray started out just doing about firearms, and now he's gone into
Like
reviews,
the breaking out,
the
like
survival
the
skill
survival
sets and
stuff.
things like that.
Yep.
He's burgeoning into so many different
Yeah.
platforms and areas.
And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Ray too. He's kind of grown out. Remember, he was always Ray. You know, he was always shy about being in front of the camera and like kind of being in the spotlight and doing some stuff.
Yeah.
He's kind of like really grown. He's grown into something really cool, and
Yeah.
he's so much better.
Yeah.
He's good at it.
He's
good at
so
what
good
he's
at
doing.
it.
Yeah.
He's always a wealth of knowledge with firearms and all that
Yes.
stuff. And anytime you're around him or have a drink with him, he knows. He's also very intelligent. He just knows about a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And he now that's coming through, I think, more in his videos today.
And he's got a very relaxing voice.
Yeah.
You know, for those
Yeah.
of you that
And he doesn't take anything too seriously, and he's
chill.
just like,
Yeah.
bam, 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 and it's just a good time.
I totally agree. And speaking of relaxing voices, I have to mention our friends in Canada, James Bond Complex.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Edgar and Mathieu are just,
Oui, oui.
yeah, oui, oui. They are très bons.
Whatever you said.
They're fantastic because, first of all, and I'm going to say it, they're regular, not meaning they poop a lot, poop a lot. They post on a regular basis. They're consistent.
Yeah.
They have a long list of things. And when they run out of Bond ideas, they go in slightly different spy genre directions. Like there really is no wrong way for them to do it. Also, I have to tell you, there are other partnership podcasts out there or YouTubers out there, but their chemistry
Yeah.
is phenomenal. They're like best friends and brothers all at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you've been a fan, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, I got to hang out with them a couple times, which was nice. No, very cool. I mean, and you're absolutely right. It's funny. I remember doing an interview with them where I interviewed them, and rather than try to do each one separately, it was just the three of us talking. And it was funny because it just felt like I felt like breaking them apart would be wrong. Like, as I mean, you're absolutely right. It's almost like they're two brothers, you know.
Yeah.
So they work perfectly well together.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, everybody out there, this video, if we mentioned every website that's out there, it would be 16 hours long. So we're not going to do websites, but there are some amazing websites out there. Please post in the comments the websites you love. But I will mention a website that this gentleman has now started doing videos on other people's show, but doing his own videos, and that is Remmert from James
yeah.
Bond Lifestyle.
Sure.
And if you know anything about Remmert, he only does things in an A+ way.
Yeah.
I mean, his stuff is beautiful. It's templated.
Perfection.
It's
perfection.
Perfection. He kind of looks like a semi-long-haired Christopher Reeve, so he's got that going for him. But he knows his onions. I mean, his site is the most visited James Bond site.
It's
I think
the sites.
outside of like the 007.com site. I mean, it's the site, right? It's the
better-
holy grail.
It's better than the 007.com site. You know, it's there.
I can't argue
It's
that.
there.
I mean,
Rimmer, good job.
But
Congrats.
he's doing a great job, and it leads me to just a kind of a bookend of our discussion, because what I've seen, and you applauded them earlier, so good for you. I've seen so many people during this pandemic kind of pull up their bootstraps and start something new or reinvent themselves
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do something different. I've seen a lot of people quit.
Yeah.
I've seen people come out of the gate, and I see it happening right now. People get really excited and they start posting. A lot of this happens on Instagram. So, and I'm not referring to you, but you see it happen on Instagram where people come out of the gate, fast and
Yeah.
furious. I'm gonna have 10,000 views by tomorrow, and it's like they just stop, and people quit, or they do a podcast and they just quit. And why do you think that is?
It's work.
It is work. You're right.
It's funny. I've done a lot of, in the last year or two, a lot of interviews with budding podcasts, and a lot of them will ask me the same thing: what does it take to become successful doing what we do? And you know, and I've kind of said, I've given them like a two-pronged message. One is that you're kind of at an advantage because you'll find that a lot of people will start, realize it's not easy, and they sort of fade out.
Right.
You know, or that this actually does take a lot of time and attention, etc.
If you can not be that guy,
Right.
Yeah.
you
If
got
you
a chance.
can if you can weather the storms when
Yeah.
you get bored, then you're ahead of the pack. You know, you're ahead of. The other thing I've kind of mentioned too to people is that, well, here's a thought. You don't have to necessarily. You know, I've said to people, decide if this is something you want to do. Because maybe you just want to be a fan. You know, maybe you just maybe you don't want to be a content creator. Maybe you want to be a fan who's very involved in whatever. And that was one of the things in the last year I think that I've found too. If there's a silver lining to this last year that was, I've gotten to know a lot of people through doing trivia nights. Either I held it and I see a lot of the same names who come up in the chat, or I've been involved in other people's trivia, which have been spectacular, by the way, and I've gotten to know people through that. So there is a hardcore community that's very involved in the world of James Bond. You don't have to be a creator if you
don't.
Unless you feel the creative need to do it, unless you feel the creative spark and you want to see that through. But yeah, it can be work, and that can dissuade people.
I think that too many people think that like they're gonna start something and then like 3-4 days later won the World Series.
Yes.
I don't know.
No, you're right.
That's
a great point.
You know, and then it's like, oh well, I only have 12 people following me. I'm gonna just quit.
Right.
Yeah.
That is a great point because I see people, and I don't hold this against anybody. I have a bias against it, but I see people celebrate. You know, I got my first 100, I've got my first 1,000, I got my first 10,000, and that's all fine. But I don't know if that should ever be the goal, is numbers or followers.
I'll say it. Who cares?
Well, that's rough. I'll say I think people can care because they want their voice to be heard. So the size of your audience could be commiserate to you being heard and have something to say. I buy that. What I'm talking about is I think engagement is so much more important than followers. If you have 100 people that engage with you, and like you said, a Zoom that has 9 people on it,
Yeah.
why do you need 900 deadpanned zombies staring at you?
Right,
You're
right.
never
With
going to
no
be able to
engagement.
respond to 900 comments and whatever engagement and
But
all
just,
that.
but the whole thing of it is that I think people should enter it into the right reason. If you wake up in the morning and it gives you joy and it fuels your passion, it gets back to our original conversation. That's why you stay and get into it. If you're doing it for followers, if you're doing it for free clothing, if you're doing it for notoriety, I think those things can wane.
Yeah.
And it just gets dismissed very quickly.
And I think that I know I've seen plenty of comments out there, and I think people have messaged me before of like, well, you guys just like you're having such a great time hanging out and getting to know
Right,
each other,
yeah.
and like I just want to like be a part of the club.
Yeah.
That's good and bad at the same time. You guys got to remember, like we've kind of known each other now for so many years that
Yeah.
like we're hanging out regardless of
Exactly.
this.
Yeah.
So
We talk more about
just
not Bond.
yeah,
than
we're
Bond.
just a friend group that does this. So you should come out to some stuff, gather all and all that,
Yeah.
and you don't have to. You don't. It's not a prerequisite to.
Yeah.
Have
It's
an
a
Instagram
it's a
account.
great point that should be put on here publicly, is that so many people that reach out and say, I would like to be on this show or that show, or if I only had a moment on there. Create your own moment. Be a part of the chats. Do what everybody did. Was everybody, including Joe, yes, even Joe, was a consumer of information before they started creating information.
Big time.
So be a consumer first, see what you like to do. I mean, so many people will come and they'll say, I want to start a Bond channel, but I'm not sure what I want to talk about. Then you're not ready to start a Bond channel. I mean, you should have such a yearning that you get up and you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to get on Instagram or wherever
Talk
your
about
platform
Octopussy Circus.
is. Octopussy Circus, why
Yeah.
not?
And
You're the
that's-
Octopus Circus guy.
That is the thing too. You have to. If you get enjoyment just from doing it and producing the content, then you're halfway home. If you're doing it and you're not going to be happy until 1 million people are watching it, it might not be the way to go. I mean, I can remember doing podcasts literally I started the podcast. It was literally before social media, right? And when you did a podcast and you put it out there, you might as well be at the beach putting a message in a bottle and just throwing it out into the ocean. You have
Right.
no idea if anybody's going to hear it,
Yeah.
etc. So you better just enjoy the process, you know. And if you don't, then that's again, if
That's
you
a
don't
great
enjoy the
point.
process, don't do it.
Yeah.
You
The
know, if you're
journey.
willing to do it, it's like they say, if you're willing to do the kind of work, if you're willing to do your work for free, then you never work a day in your life.
Well, that's a great point, because if someone watches a 10-minute video, they have to understand that there were probably a minimum of 10 days leading up to that 10-minute
Right.
video
Yeah.
of planning, behind the scenes, talking to
Yeah.
people, editing, filming, producing, cutting, redoing.
You mean it didn't just?
But that's what a lot of people think. It's like, wait a minute, this takes time, and it takes work, and it takes, number one, it takes a burning passion. So, this whole discussion today was about burnout. And what's great is, very early on in this discussion, you guys corrected that and said, I'm not really burnt out, because burnt out is not even having a quantum of solace. It's see what I did there? It's totally like, I'm done.
Right.
I'm retiring. What we're talking about, ebbs and flows.
Fatigue,
Yeah.
I mean, we all get
Yeah.
tired, and we're allowed to get tired.
And
I
yet-
think I certainly was the first one that was like, I use the word burnout probably too loosely,
Right.
And I've said it to many people, that I'm just burnt out of this. This is I'm over it. But it's not that I'm over it.
Right.
I'm over of being consumed by, I got to make sure I have a photo of me today. Like I had to like.
And you do it as part of your life. And
Right.
that is
Yeah.
dressing like Bond.
Right.
Being James Bond, interestingly enough, I think less people have gotten on you about Volume 2 lately than ever. It used to be before the pandemic. It was the running joke.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Let's
I don't
start
know.
that up right now. Send Joe an email at hedoesn'tcare.com.
But it will be finished by No Time to Die, which is good
Yeah.
news.
Do you guys have like off the cuff 2 accounts on Instagram that could be Bond or non-Bond or connected somehow, that you just enjoy, that people ought to know about, that are like just inspiration or just
Oh, yeah.
something?
And thank you for limiting it to 2, because I've got a lot.
I know,
I've got
I know,
hundreds that I
know.
love. But what's yours?
Boy, I'm not sure. I'm not
Do you want me to
sure.
go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, because mine just came right to me. And
It's your
they're,
house.
they're both very different.
All right.
So, number one, I absolutely love Amiga Bond watches
Okay.
by Lorenzo.
Okay.
I think he loves watches, and yes, it is about watches, but he shows watches in the wild. He's got a wonderful collection, and he's a storyteller too. So I love people when they tell a story.
This page is great.
The second one that I love, because it's much more than an Instagram account, it's a storytelling experience, and that is Billy's Bond art. The creation of his work. Whether it's he's doing it for individuals or himself, or these 30 days. I've talked to him on the phone. I've interviewed him. What he does is he talks about this as like, all right, what experience am I creating? And I love that about him.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And
to
there's
get
like
some stuff from
200.
him.
But what are your 2 that stand out?
Alessandro Palazzi from Dukes. I mean,
nice.
I'm gonna call that a Bond account because I think half of his followers are Bond fans.
Probably.
But again, Joe, you said it early on in the quarantine a year ago or so. If you come out of this not learning something, you did it wrong. I consider myself a pretty decent bartender these days, and getting those daily videos of how to make something and watching him as a
nice.
character who we've all met to do that. That's inspiration.
Yeah.
That's also escapism of feeling like you're in
Yeah.
Yeah.
London or
That's true.
Italy, wherever. And who doesn't want organic Amalfi lemons? I mean,
What's your second one?
little off of Bond, but can come back to Bond. It's called Traveling Gentleman. He has a blog, and it's a website, and it's an Instagram account where he posts photos of his travels
Yeah.
and also photos of like old school actors and stuff. There's a lot of Bond, a lot
Nice.
of Connery, and it's just very like educational, but just inspirational. Like, oh, it's nice to look at today.
Very cool.
So yeah,
Joe's on Instagram right now.
yeah. Joe's trying
Nicely
to figure
done.
it out.
It's like, damn it, I need
Whoever
2 on
he
here.
mentions, you're so lucky because I see
Scroll,
him. You
scroll.
Well, it was funny as soon as you said it.
Who's messaged me recently?
It's kind of funny because honestly, like again, and I'm probably showing my age, but I mean, I just sit there and I just scroll through and I see a lot of stuff I like, and I kind of sometimes I don't even really notice like who actually posted this. I'm so glad you mentioned Billy's Bond art, because I remember last year just feeling like the explosion of Bond artists was really great.
Yeah.
Sean Langmore,
Yeah.
spectacular. Ruben Wakeman.
Yeah.
I mean, just great stuff. I mean, honestly, like it's
Marshall.
really been impressive,
Yeah.
the work that they've done. So I mean, those guys really were terrific. Match Perfectly jumped to mind when you said Instagram, because boy, I just kind of love seeing their travel stuff.
They're out in the wild.
Again, talk about kind of just wishing we could be traveling more often.
Yes.
These guys are doing it. So
in Cancun or where.
But they travel from beautiful Florida to beautiful Cancun.
yeah,
It's just another palm tree.
Oh,
seriously.
We're up here in the north.
Designing Bond is another one that I really like.
Joe, we have 2.
James Burb, this is a good one. Okay,
We're at 4.
Burp James Bird is good.
SIS Training is pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. So, gentlemen, one thing that we should tell our audience here is that this was not an exhaustive list. People have been left off.
Yes.
So, what we're going to implore you to do is a little quid pro quo in the comments below. The ones that we've missed. Tell us the ones that you love and consume. We'll check them out below, and this way everybody can run through them. But guys, thank you. Did this help? Kind of flame the fires of our
It feels
passion?
good talking
Yeah.
Bond. It does. It feels good talking Bond.
Good.
It really does.
Yeah, I think that a lot of this has just sort of been an exercise. You know, I did a month of trivia this past month, and honestly, that was very, very much just to get the cobwebs out. Just to get back into the groove of things. It's just kind of put yourself back out there to let it catch you. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Did you get the Goldfinger question right this time?
The
Shirley
Bassey question.
Bassey.
That
I had
never
somebody
get
said to me,
old.
they go, "Hey, Darlington finally said Bassey correctly."
They said on
Shirley Bassey.
they said on the survey, no more inside jokes. So I will ask you to please stop. All right. So this has been
Harris Thompson dressing like Bond.
and
Joe Darlington being James Bond.
David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. We'll see you all real soon. Take care. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond Experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.